Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sit in It for a Bit with Arne and Carlos, and we are as always your hosts.
Arne and Carlos.
And we are back with our fortnightly podcast, which is about everything and anything, not necessarily knitting. The idea is that you sit in it for a bit while we talk. We've been going on since the pandemic with our podcast, and people do enjoy it. So this is one of the things we can't stop doing. We have to come back and give everybody the update of everything that is going on in our lives here in Norway, where we live.
I've been checking some comments since last time. I was checking what are people actually doing while they watch Sit and Knit for a bit. And
Yeah.
there was people wrote and said what they were doing.
And what were they doing?
I had some. I wrote down some of the things people are actually doing.
Oh.
And so there are actually people knitting on a blanket.
Yeah, good morning.
Having coffee and knitting on a blanket.
Yeah, so Blaze Baker says, good morning, guys. Having my coffee and knitting a blanket with you. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for keeping us company while you knit your blanket.
And Melissa2354 is crocheting a test pattern.
While listening to our adventures.
So people are doing different things.
Yeah, and we've got Donna Carmine 2024. She was knitting on her knit-along project for Lent. Oh yeah, Lent. That's the, fasten.
Oh yeah,
Fastelavn,
Lent,
yeah.
Fastelavn. Yeah.
So in Norwegian-
Is that now? In Sweden we had those balls.
Yeah, in Norwegian, the
Is it now?
Lent is Fastelavn in Norwegian. And it's that period that leads up to Easter, I guess, with Carnival and all that, I think.
And I think I saw one comment. One of you were actually working on a quilt. But I shouldn't look at these comments because then I lose focus.
Yeah,
But
anyway.
it's fun to know that some of you people are working on different things while we're talking.
Yeah, and Arne, actually, you read comments for the first time. I mean,
Oh, it's the first time in
Ever,
maybe
yeah.
a long time.
No, you've never read comments, you told me.
No,
This is the first
hardly-
time since
yeah.
2015, no?
No, actually in the beginning I was looking at some comments, but then I heard on the radio there was this actor in Norway. She said if you put yourself out on the internet, you shouldn't read comments.
That's
And
maybe true.
Then I was thinking, okay, maybe that's a good idea, so I stopped reading comments. But now I've been checking because it's kind of
Yeah.
fun to see what people say.
So the good thing about our YouTube channel is it's very nice. People here are super nice. So we get positive comments all the time. And that's great.
That's good.
And we get like 99, I mean, we have statistics on our YouTube channel and we have like 99.2% likes and 0.08% dislikes, for example. So I mean, it's nice. It's a nice channel. We've got a lovely community here, and it actually makes it worthwhile sitting down and doing these podcasts because people are really great and kind and generous.
So thank
at
you.
least here on our YouTube channel. So we do want to thank you all for keeping it, civil and civilized
It's
and
very
being
civilized. It's very civilized. That's nice. But we have some things to tell you because we went to Sweden.
great. Yes.
And on our way to Sweden, we passed by Oslo because Carlos needed a new suit.
Okay, so this is a little bit of a shopping spree we had in Oslo
And a
before
little
going
bit
to
of a
Sweden.
shock. And
Yeah.
a little shock.
So I don't always understand science, so I don't know how it happens. But I've got a lot of suits in my wardrobe, and they've all shrunk
Yeah.
in some inexplicable way. So now I have officially gone up from a size. No. I can tell them
Up
myself.
to a...
I've gone from a size to a size, but it's not because of me. It's the suits that is the issue. So now I have a size bigger, and it means I was a little bit concerned because I'm a Virgo and I am a perfectionist. I was very concerned when I got the suit that the shoulders would be all wrong on me. That I would
dropped
that
shoulder.
I would get a suit with a dropped shoulder. Well, I actually have a suit without shoulder pads and dropped shoulder, but it's supposed to be like that. But I'm thinking more like a suit with shoulder pads and a dropped shoulder or a wide shoulder would make me look like a football player.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I don't want that. So I want it to be very well. But actually, the suit was well on the shoulders. It was okay.
It wasn't... That's not where the problem
No,
was.
the problem is when I went up a size, I needed to be fitted for the suit, and then the tailor needs to do alterations on the sleeves and the length of the pant. Because apparently, if you fit that, you know, the mold. So I'm actually a mold person. I have, for some inexplicable reason,
were a mold person.
I was a mold person until now. So any suit that I would buy from, you know, Scandinavian designer, I would fit perfectly both the jacket and the pants without having to alter the pants and the sleeves. But now that my suits keep shrinking, I have to now alter sleeves and pants. But at least it fits around the waist, which is comfortable.
And then while Carlos was doing his shopping,
Well,
I walked around
Yeah.
and I looked at the shirts. And there's certain shirts, some shirts I really like. I have a few of those, but I've always bought slim fit.
Yeah.
And
then I was
Actually,
given a suit. I was given a shirt. He asked me, "Would you like to try on a shirt to fit the suit?" And I said, "Of course." So he gave me a shirt, the kind that Arne
the
likes.
slim fit.
And I put it on and I buttoned it up, and I realized that it's a little bit tight around my waist, probably because that shirt shrank in the store, right?
Probably.
Anyway, so I tell him I might need to upgrade the size of my shirts as well. And then he said, "Oops." And then he said, "No worries, you don't have to do that because
if it's a slim fit shirt, they have that dart in the back, and you can open the dart, and then you get at least 4 centimeters extra. And I had actually waved all my slim fit shirts goodbye, and I thought I had to go up a size, but I didn't want to buy slim fit anymore. But then
we went home."
but then he also said, but I didn't think I just went up a size, slim fit. And then when that shrinks, I can even have a bigger one.
Yeah.
And then we went home and looked through all my shirts, and they all have that slim fit with that extra dart.
So Arne did and then ironed, and now he's got shirts that fit him until they shrink again.
Yeah, but now it's like I can wear them again, and I'm so happy. But the strange thing is that all of these shirts, they are a little bit too long for me, so I normally cut off something like this, and then I fold them,
Rehem them and sew them again,
and sew them again, because I don't like them when they're too long. And while I was doing this, I have not thought about the fact that there are no seams on the back of the shirt.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Very strange.
I should have thought that there is something.
You have a degree in men's tailoring, Arne.
Yeah, and
You
I really didn't think about it.
But I never thought about it either. I thought they were darts just there to keep the shirts, looking fitted and nice.
I didn't.
And it never occurred to us that we could actually slit them open in the back.
I didn't even think about the dart. I just thought they were cut that way, maybe in the side seam or something. I have no clue what I was thinking. But I was so upset because you can wear cufflinks with all the shirts, and I love my cufflinks. So,
Unfortunately, I apparently buy other kinds of shirts that don't have those darts in the back, so I cannot do anything about my shirts. This morning I was packing because we're going on a cruise, and I was packing, and I felt like I won the lottery when I found one shirt. One. And I said, "Look, Arne, I won." And then he helped me get the darts open. I'm very afraid of the seam ripper because I tend to rip fabric. So anyway, I got it. Arne helped me, and now I have one shirt that shrunk, but that we have fixed.
Back to wearable.
But I'm thinking I need to go to buy a few shirts, and I'm thinking oversized. The oversized trend, I hope it doesn't end soon. Because...
Do we really care?
Well, no.
No, I don't care.
I'm just sick and tired of having shirts shrink all the time. It's very inconvenient. Yeah. And I don't know how it happens because I don't understand science always. So I don't know.
But now that we're making our own fabrics again, as soon as those fabrics are ready, we will order so we have enough for shirts. And if I can find the pattern for a shirt I bought in Liberty in London last year, I think it was, then I think we should make our own shirts with our own fabrics.
Yeah.
If we find the pattern. Must we have to make a pattern?
We will. But the Liberty pattern you bought was probably good enough.
It's good enough if I can find it.
I'm thinking. Anyway,
So
those
that
are
was the shock.
yeah. That's the life. And then we went to Sweden and we spent some time with my dad and my mom. They're okay. I mean, not good, but okay.
Okay.
At the moment, they're fine. And yeah, we got back. We got back on the Thursday, and then we had some very close friends visit us for the weekend. And now we are packing and leaving for our knitting cruise. And this means that when you guys see this video, because we have to pre-record it before we go on the cruise, we will have been on the cruise for about, I don't know, 6 days or something.
So
And it's an exciting cruise because it's not a knitting cruise. It's a knitting and quilting cruise. And we're going with Kate from the Last Homely House, who we invited to join us. She's always wanted to do this and come to Norway. We thought that was a good idea to invite her to be our guest, and we're very excited about meeting new people and some old friends as well. We've got 6 people coming that usually travel with us on many of the things we do that we really enjoy being
I think
with.
it will be very nice. And
Hopefully, yeah.
And since I'm reading comments, I saw that Kate hoped that I also will work on the projects she's bringing to the ship.
And by the time she sees this,
you see this, Kate, I probably finished it already.
Oh,
With my speed.
okay.
No. I have so many projects with me.
We're excited about the project bag as well that Kate has been kind enough to provide. We have no idea what's inside it.
Oh,
And we're looking forward to it. So we'll see. I'm going to
it's
do...
not a big quilt.
No, I hope
can't do
not.
that
No, I
into
think it's going to be like a little tote bag or something.
Or small thing. Maybe.
But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to working on her project. I will be working on her project, and I will also be knitting some stuff. I'm going to unravel the hat that I started knitting last summer.
Why?
Because I want to start over.
I think
me.
It looks good.
Nah, I want to do the ribbing again, and I want to take a look at it first and see what it looks like, and then I think I might do the ribbing one more time. I'm doing the ARNE hat, which is inspired by the traditional Norwegian fishermen's sweaters that we call the Icelanders, but that are not really from Iceland. It's all about the trade and how things move around here in the north of Europe. By the North Sea, we've got Norway on one side, and then we've got England and Faroe Islands and Iceland on the other. And things get confused, I guess. So,
but we're also bringing other projects, like we said. I think we said that on another sit and knit for a bit, that this year we had to bring some work and work in public. We can't be hiding in a room doing some secret things.
Not anymore.
Because we are traveling so much and we need to finish some work. So I think when we come back from the cruise, and we should show what we have done on the cruise if we have finished something, or
even if we haven't,
or created
we
more
could still
UFOs.
show, like a show and tell. Yeah,
could be nice.
We're gonna do. We're gonna work on the crochet tablecloth that we showed a couple of episodes ago.
We're gonna finish that so we can.
That's gonna be. We always, every year since 2019, we have released a crochet pattern for spring, summer. And we have always done it in May, and this year is not going to be an exception. So we're going to release a beautiful white tablecloth pattern that you can sew on little butterflies and little things too.
So we're going to do the things on this cruise, and then we're going to do the design.
Yeah.
But I think the fun thing with this project is that as soon as it is out and people start crocheting it, it could be fun to see how people actually embellish their projects.
Yeah. So
and
that's
which color people use.
That's something we're looking forward to doing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that as well. I told Arne, show me the pattern for the flowers, and I'll do the little flowers. Yeah. And I'm excited about that. So can't wait.
Show you something, because I have another project which I'm not bringing because I have too many projects.
Too many projects,
now.
Yeah.
So. This is from my last visit to the thrift shop.
Those are cute.
And there are different motifs.
Is this when you bought that ladder?
No,
which
that
I've finally
was when
seen.
I went down to pay the chest of drawer.
Yeah. I finally saw the ladder, by the way, and thank goodness it's small. It's like this big. So it doesn't really
and
take...
it's covered with paint. So I guess the people who had it before, they used it when they paint.
I like it the way it is.
I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's
with
nice.
We should show it once.
Yeah.
So and then
We should show our cushions as well. You can see one of them pretty much. Yeah.
the cushion collection.
Part of my cushion collection. Yeah.
So now I started to sew them together like this. So this is also based on hexagons. And I was thinking
Very nice.
maybe we should do this on the Sunday episode with Eric so we can show people how we do it.
We
but
should.
We also talked about maybe we should just do knitting because what you call that?
The YouTube algorithm.
The algorithm doesn't like it if we do other things.
Yeah. So the YouTube algorithm, they think we're stupid and that we can't do too many
More
things
than
at the
one
same
thing?
time, or that we can't master many different things. But if you want to see more of the quilting and the hexagons and all that, put it down in the comments so we can see.
At least we know if you want to see it.
And if you're more interested in the knitting than that, put it in the comments, and we'll see what people say. I like it being democratic, as we were saying in the beginning. We have a very nice channel with a lot of really lovely people, and so let the people have their say in it, and then we'll do whatever people want us to do.
I think the problem is for us, like we like to do so many different things.
That's a problem.
It's not only one thing. It's like we don't have one hobby. We have loads of hobbies, and some of the hobbies are not hobbies; it's work.
No,
so
exactly. And some of the hobbies, I'm very much into interior decorating and colors. I work a lot with colors, with ARNE and me and all that. So I'm very interested in colors and colorways and things like that. And that's not really something that is so easy to show or teach. Because it comes from inside in a way. It's kind of like the way you see things and put them together. But so there's a lot of. It's not always about knitting.
No, we can do other things.
We can do many, many other things, and of course the garden.
And look, I found these are probably yours.
They are
the Liberty fabrics.
I don't think so.
Because I think if I can take this one, I can combine this old napkins or what it is with the Liberty fabric.
They may not be Liberty.
It's not Liberty.
I don't know.
Looks very Liberty, but
because maybe.
And this one also this fabric is this one is kind of nice with the blue flowers. Like this, and then the combination will be all these hexagons. But since I do it this way, you see there are maybe just a little corner of a hexagon. I make hexagons with very thin paper, and I glue them on drawing paper. This is from the ABBA museum, ABBA hotel in Stockholm.
Maybe it is Liberty.
Slipping through my fingers.
Oh,
look. So I'm gonna bring this and glue the paper on this one. So
could be
then
Liberty.
Raise canvas on top and do some embroidery. So this will be a big project. And someone asked what happened to our crazy quilts and things like that. But
work in projects.
It takes time.
It takes time, and we put them down. And I mean, those projects are quite difficult to take with us. If we take the big one, but we can take like a portion of it or something. But those are all works in progress. I want to do a quilt. I haven't come very far yet. I was considering the design I drew, and then I saw another one that I really liked. So
and then.
I was thinking of taking inspiration from that and maybe changing things up a little bit and coming up with a new design. And then also we like the idea of not really copying someone else's quilt design, but maybe designing one ourselves, which is, I mean, we've done plenty of design in our career of more than 20 years. So I think we should be able to do that without having problems. So,
but now we're doing a huge research, I feel, on what's out there on those quilts. So I have ordered 3 books now
about different
with different
patterns,
designs, just to see what is out there.
And then it would be nice to just take those designs and then kind of build them. I mean. A good way of working with design of patterns, for example, is to deconstruct them and build them up again. So look at particular designs and see if we can take them apart and then rebuild them in a new way, interesting way.
Because there's so many out there. It's really
kind of
hard to come up with something new. You think you come up with something new, and then you find it somewhere.
But I like the idea of the deconstructed quilt. That sounds actually, we shouldn't be giving away our little... work process, but here we are. The deconstructed quilt might be a design coming coming soon. Who knows?
Or the Crazy Quilt. That
or
we
the Crazy
started.
Quilt.
Now I found this book.
Yeah, that's a favorite of yours.
It's from Janet Haig. This one I found I think it's from the 80s. This has been my favorite quilting book for many, many, many years. And no, this is from 1998.
So you've had it almost 30 years.
Yeah. Well, this is
25
my
anyway.
main inspiration for Crazy Quilts because in this book you have a lot of stitches that you can put on top of on top of the quilt, which I think is really nice. So it's called Elleville lapper in Norwegian, like this.
Yeah.
Janet Haig. Very beautiful.
Very nice book. Yeah, it's got a lot of cool quilts.
What's the original title, do you think? It's
I don't
called
know.
Crazy Patchwork.
Crazy Patchwork, yeah.
Very good.
And fun fact, many people here, many people do know because we've had followers following us for a very long time. And maybe we have shown it before, but our first ever design piece, the first thing we ever designed, ever, for our Arne and Carlos brand when we established it, we did a collection, women's wear collection inspired by Dolly Parton. One of the first things we did was a patchwork corset, which is all hand stitched. It's all crazy quilted, and then it's got beadwork around it's very cool, and it's inspired by the coat of many colors. But we did like a corset and a tulle skirt. Maybe we'll show it one day. I'm sure we have it.
We have it, but I'm not sure in which box.
It's in our archive box.
have
And the thing is, things got a little bit mixed up as well because we have our own archive here in one of the outhouses, kept in a cooler temperature and in plastic, very good, solid boxes. But
Boxes that can freeze.
yeah, but in 2012, the National Museum in Norway did an exhibition about our work. And we had to turn in quite a lot of stuff. And the curators from the museum, it's actually very interesting, by the way, how curators work. They curate an exhibition and they have to look at a lot of things and they have to find the essence of what is, in our case, what is Arne and Carlos? Who are they and what represents their work the best? So the problem was that when, and this exhibition took 2 years to make. Yeah. So we started in 2010. And we had to but we had to give up a lot of our archive to the National Museum. And they had to go through every single piece. And then they had to select, and then they had to do the exhibition. And then after the exhibition was over, it took 3 years. But when the exhibition was over, and it was just 3 years because it toured all over Norway. It went to all these different galleries. And also we curated a school exhibition as well. Anyway, it toured all over. The National Museum then returned, first they returned all the things they didn't use. And then 3 years later, we got the rest returned to us. And so the problem is when things come at different times, right? Yep. And when we already are kind of chaotic creative, I am very, I like it nice and tidy in the house, but the studios, the archives are a little bit messy. And then, you receive the boxes and you leave everything there. You don't even look through it. And then after a while, you open them. So yeah, things got a little bit dispersed. I mean, something here, something there. So yeah, when we have to think about that corset, we know we have it. That corset was part of the exhibit.
Because I remember, they came in big boxes and those boxes were really hard to handle. And where do you put them?
Yeah.
So I have gone through a lot of it now and I have packed it in plastic boxes with lids, so they're safe in there. And there's also this paper you wrap around.
Yeah,
so,
these acid-free boxes with, I guess, acid-free paper as well. Yeah, so, and then, but going back to the curator, it was interesting. So during the process, they wanted a particular dress that we had designed, a very cool, very simple-looking dress, but very complex to create because all the darts had to be hidden in the panels that were made. Well, actually, we have the copy. So what happened was we told them we don't have the dress, and she was a little bit like, "Why?" And then we said because when we were, in the beginning of our career, when we started in the fashion industry, we didn't have any or much money, so we paid the models with clothes. So the models would do the runway shows and the photo shoots, and then we'd give them the clothes as payment, and then hope that we sold some and then we could make some again. So anyway, that particular dress was non-existent in our archives, and so the curator said, "Is it possible to find the dress and we can copy it again?" So we traced the dress down. Luckily, we had sold it to my very good friend's sister. So we tracked it down and borrowed it, and then the school of design in Oslo, Designhøgskolen, I don't know, Oslo Met nowadays. But anyway, the School of Design, they recreated the dress for us. And we got an upgrade as well. It was originally, because we were poor, so the original dress was actually done in polyester and some gingham fabrics.
Yeah, from the supermarket.
That were, kind of put
fabric
together. And then the upgrade was made in silk. So it was very beautiful. So yeah, maybe we'll look for those boxes and we will show that dress and explain, actually, we can explain the construction of the dress if you guys are interested. Because back then we really loved doing these really cool constructions of clothing with a lot of pleats and a lot of panels. And I remember the patterns for
for the shirts. They were like...
They look like an accordion.
Like many meters, because we folded the fabric in a very special way.
And then we'd hide. And then we were well known for doing very figure-fitting clothing for women. So all the blouses they had a waist. They were really, really tailored, and it was pretty cool doing these foldings and these pleats and kind of adding darts, but not conventional the ones that you sew like that. But instead doing a lot of pattern construction to hide the darts. Actually, you know what? It was a fun time.
Yeah.
We did it all out here in our little studio on our own, cut and sewed and made everything up for the shows. And then eventually...
sometimes actually I miss it. Sometimes.
Yeah, that was... It was fun in the beginning when we were doing it on our own. And then what happened was, after a couple of years when we started to make money, we kind of delegated that stuff to the ateliers. We had an atelier in Lithuania who did all the samples for us. And that time was, it took away a little bit of the, I don't know, somehow it felt like you gave, not the creative process, because then we all did it all on paper, but it was something about the ideas, the tailoring, working together, 2 sewing machines, and that was quite a lot of fun.
It was actually quite fun, but after a while, the focus is almost more on the go to the trade shows and sell the collections and start the production, and the fun of making it disappears in a way, because it's kind of stressful, because you have to make a new collection again while you're working on the production on the old collection, and then you have to get the money from their clients.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And then when we went over to only specializing in knitwear, when we kind of changed our brand to only do knitwear, I'm not talking about knitting patterns as we've done for a few years now.
Readymade.
But I'm talking about the Readymade. Then we do it all in Peru, and that was different because the knitting was very fine. It was very fine gauge, impossible to knit by hand. Actually,
well,
it was very
fine.
No
one would do it, I guess.
So it was all machine knitted. But the fun thing about the knitwear was that you could create your own fabric. I mean, we could never afford printing fabrics when we were when we did the sewing, right? But when we did the knitting, we could create our own fabrics kind of from scratch, and that was a lot of fun. It was always fun traveling to Peru and going to the workshops and then seeing what they look like in real life after we had kind of concocted
and at the
ideas.
time we were like in Norway, we were almost, I think we were the only one who worked on Norwegian inspired knitwear. There was like, it was so totally out of fashion
Back then, yeah.
So even in the knitting world, people weren't doing a lot of the old stuff.
It was interesting because the year that we kind of exploded, it was in 2008. We had presented a very small collection of menswear, knitted. Everything was knitted. We had hats, we had scarves, we had mittens, and then we had jackets and sweaters. But small collection, but they were extremely well made. They were very intricate in their designs and patterns. A lot of kind of asymmetric patterns, very cool. And at that time, I remember that at that time in the fashion industry, it was very in, the heritage brands, the the craftsmanship. Those were the things that were on trend, and especially because of Monocle magazine.
Yeah.
I think it's still available.
Maybe.
But Monocle magazine had kind of started this trend where you looked at more at how things were well made than the fashion aspect. And then if there was history, right? So we didn't have a brand that was 150 years old.
No.
But we did have cultural history in our country that was that old. So we could take those patterns and recreate them, and then kind of make a very high product with very good craftsmanship. And people very, very excited about that at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it was fun.
Those are the days. Do we want to go back?
Well,
A lot of...
just to do the design and do a fashion show is kind of fun.
But it's all the
then
other stuff.
all the other things.
We're not salespeople.
No.
We don't understand those things. And then to sit and take orders is not something that we enjoy doing. We want to be creative, and then when we are done, we want our products to kind of live their own life, and then we can go back and do something new.
And also, we also had a question about the mittens we made for the Trondheim soloists.
Yes. You have that question here in your little...
Yeah, there was someone who asked if we have done more designs with acanthus and the rosemaling, and we have. I couldn't find the mittens right now. I guess they're in the suitcase that I packed. But
let's see.
can you find? So I just brought out some of the examples we have on the rosemaling.
Ska vi se. I don't see...
But I know it's in.
Yeah. I remember you told me about the comments. Somebody was talking to us about acanthus.
Yeah,
Here it is. It's from Jenny Marquardt, 6005. Jenny Marquardt, 6005. She asks, do you ever use rosemaling for inspiration?
Yeah.
And the answer is absolutely. We had a period in our design aesthetics that it was all about rosemaling, and what we wanted was to portray the rosemaling idea in fabrics.
So, like for this one, this is the Roven collection, the new Nordic. This was from when?
2020, so 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
We did an entire collection inspired by rosemaling.
And on this picture, you can see this girl. She's wearing the layered colorwork sweater with rosemaling inspiration.
But that's what it looks like in a close-up. We should show it in let's see if I can find it here. Here it is. Because
we have a few of designs in that one with the acanthus, and we did that in 2 collections for Roven, where we used.
And then we've done it for our own as well.
Yeah, and I think the Trondheim soloist mittens came after this one, didn't they?
Yeah.
This was before the mittens.
It's weird, huh? It's the best photo and it's not here.
You can find
How is that possible?
But I also have this one. This is from the new Norwegian wool collection. So this sweater has also those acanthus patterns. So we have used it quite a while. Maybe there's no picture of that in this one.
It's funny how something we think is really the best, one, and then it's not even shown because the people, working with the book might think something else is better, huh?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And we also use them on the Christmas balls, like for those of you who have those. This is the Dutch book that came just now before Christmas, and here you can see there's another acanthus.
Yeah, but hang on. They've kind of blurred it out even, It's really the best photo in the whole book, and they blurred it out. But here you can see the idea of the rose-painted, rosemalt acanthus in different colors on the sweater. And I've got a little one here as well. They actually used a part of that really fabulous picture as well on the top here. Here you can see a close-up. If you look at that one here.
And here you have the shot.
Here you can see the whole sweater, and here you can see close-up. So it looks different, from afar. It looks pretty much, like this, what it's supposed to be. But from from close-ups, then it looks completely different. We say it's kind of like an impressionist painting. If you look at a painting by Monet or something, and you look at it really close, and then you go and you look at it from a distance,
then
it's
your eyes is
two different things,
mixing the colors.
And then we got another one that we did that is nice as well that I want to show. It's in black or in blue and white, which is also the acanthus, but also inspired of the porcelain. So it looks like this.
That's actually the rosemaling that is blown up.
Yeah, this is the rosemaling that we've enlarged and made it into
like they do on the porcelain from Royal Copenhagen. They take the mussel, what's it called, that pattern?
The blue flute. No, what's it called? Well, anyway, it's the iconic Royal Copenhagen blue and white pattern where you have the little flowers.
You can get them now with oversized patterns, so we did the same with the acanthus. And then for modern daily knitting, in the field guide number 23 called Glow, we also have these mittens inspired of the Setesdal mittens. These are the original ones are knitted, and then there's embroidery on top, so we made another version with this acanthus, and this is knitted with duplicate stitches.
That one is from last year.
This is last year.
So here's also another one. You can see the front and the back. It's got stripes and intarsia all in one.
We've done some design, quite many actually.
So,
with acanthus.
We have, and then we did the mittens from Trondheim. Trondheim.
That was in 2001.
So we did that. No, 2000 as well. We did that in 2000. The mittens for Trondheim Solista. Yeah. So we had a period where we worked with rosemaling, träskärring. Träskärring is wood carving, but the motifs are very much the same. It's these stylized acanthus floral or like. You can call them the curls and swirls if you want.
And up in Gudbrandsdalen, where I'm from, we have this tradition of doing wood carving, and then you paint the wood carving also. So it's like
it's a mix.
3D rosemaling. So there's some big cabinets from a guy called Sjåk-Ola. He made a lot of those wood carved, painted cabinets.
And if you want to understand a little bit about the language, the way we put words together, so rosemaling is a painting technique. Rose is rose, and maling is painting. So if you translate that literally from Norwegian to English, it would be called rose painting. Even if it's acanthus florals, it's still considered roses. And then if it's wood carving, it's träskärring. Trä means wood, and skärring means cut. So
carving.
Yeah, carving. Yeah. But it comes from cut.
Yeah, cut.
So wood cuts or wood carvings.
But I learned that the rosemaling is also used in English.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
No, we didn't know that. With like rosemaling is a very Norwegian word.
We had no idea. We were talking about it.
Was also
once we were talking about it, and we kind of talked about it and said rose painting because we had no idea that this existed in USA. We didn't think people knew what it was. And then somebody was kind enough to pinpoint to us that it was indeed an English word, and a lot of people in America do.
But it's not an English word. It's used in English.
Definitely not English.
It's not an English word.
Yeah.
No, well, our friend said, what did he say now about language? There was this debate was in the University of Oxford or something, or where was it?
I can't remember.
They were discussing English, that actually a lot of English comes from Old Norwegian, and
or
some
Norse,
people
Old
deny
Norse,
that, and some people agree with it. So there's a discussion in some university places in the world now, because they try to figure out if English, a lot of the English come from somewhere else, or if it's from Old Norwegian.
Yeah, but there's a lot of examples in our language that, and in our language nowadays, I mean, there was some annoyance from, I don't know, the cultural people here, about putting in a lot of English words. So they were complaining about, the fact that we say bag. And then it turned out that, oh, well, that is actually a Norwegian word.
But there's another thing now.
So bag is Norwegian.
But there's another thing in Norwegian.
Like a plastic bag or
But there's another thing in Norwegian language that I find kind of annoying, because just 2 years ago, everybody, when they talked about their kids, they said unger. or barn, like in Scottish, burn. Is it burn?
Barn.
Barn.
We say barn.
Barn. And now younger kids in Norway started to call kids.
Yeah.
They use kids.
But then they have
Norwegian. But now even people older than me.
Yeah, that's annoying.
They say a kidsa.
Yeah, and so in Norwegian, so if you want to say the kids, so the kids, you have to put an ending in Norwegian. So instead of saying the kids, they say kidsa.
Kidsa.
Kidsa is like plural, the kids.
It's so strange when you hear grown-up people talk about kids.
Or if it's a singular, if it's one kid, they'll say kidden.
Yeah, kidden or kidsa.
And it's like,
but people
what?
are doing it. Like I listen a lot to the local radio in the morning, and even these people are my age, and they call the barn kidsa. Kidsa. It's very strange. But probably we turn into our grandparents now.
Yeah, we're turning into our grandparents. We're very reluctant for all this modern change. Oh my God, it's horrible. But anyway, some more Norwegian for you. So the kid is a kid. Or kidden.
I have something to show.
And the kids is kidsa.
Look, I managed to put this on. I think I showed it before, because
nobody sees it. You have to get up.
Because when I speak my language, my dialect, I use my dialect more or less as it was when I grew up. Maybe I have changed a little bit since you speak a mix of Swedish and Norwegian. I probably take some words from you. But I got this prize or this diploma and a party from the local, what you call that? The dialect lag.
Dialect.
The
dialect organization.
They try to take care of the dialect.
But you have to stand up a little bit so people see.
So I got a prize, a diploma, a painting, and 2 T-shirts from GoStar Dialect and Language Organization. And this is this says det elver så galt at det ikke godt for noe. That means it's never so bad that it's not good for something.
So in English it would be every cloud has a silver lining.
Yeah. So I'm very hardcore when it comes to dialects and language.
And this actually answers Kat.
I think it's funny.
This one answers Kath Seawan's question. She asks, what language do you speak when you're at home not filming? Mm-hmm. I find it so interesting when Arne is asking for the English translation. So we speak Scandinavian. Arne speaks Norwegian. Anna, Eric, and PJ, they speak Norwegian as well. And I speak Swedish/Norwegian, sometimes in a mix. Grammar is pretty much the same. So it's just the words. I may use some different words, and then the possessives are different in Norwegian than in Swedish when you put sin after.
Yeah.
And
then Anna, Erik, and PJ, they speak more the written Norwegian language. Bokmål, what they speak in Oslo. Maybe PJ has a little bit of dialect because he's not from Oslo.
Anna is from Iceland.
Anna is from Iceland, so she speaks.
She also speaks Icelandic, but we can't understand her when she does.
No, and I have a dialect that if I use all the words in my dialect, they probably have problems understanding some of the things I say. You have learned it now.
Yeah. In theory, if you speak in Norwegian, Danish, and Swedish, you should be able to understand each other very well. In practice, it depends who you are and where you come from. I'm lucky. I lived in the south of Sweden, way south, where we also could watch Danish television. And my region in the south of Sweden was Danish once upon a time. So I have no problem understanding Danish. And then I've lived in Norway. You know, this is the place I've lived the longest in my life. So I can manage all 3 languages quite well. Although I think if we would go down to Sønderjylland in the south of Denmark, near the German border,
that could be harder.
It could be harder to understand. And then I can understand a Danish person having issues understanding people from the west coast of Norway, from Bergen and Stavanger and Haugesund. But the north of Norway should be very easy to understand.
Should be, I think so.
And the north of Norway and the north of Sweden, they even speak in the same tone. They have the same kind of way to speak.
And then once we went to your sister in Gothenburg, and I spoke my dialect. I didn't change much because I don't change a lot when I speak to Swedish people, or if they're not from a Scandinavian country, I try to speak more like the written language. If they're from Denmark and Sweden, I don't change much because I assume that people understand me. They don't all the time. And I remember your sister and her husband, they had problems understanding some of my words. But the strange thing was when I was listening to them, they had a lot of words that I use. It was just pronounced a little bit different. And
just a little bit, yeah.
That is
but
because,
that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
Well, you're not used to it.
That is because Norway went almost all the way down to Gothenburg. To Marstrand was Norwegian. That's outside of Göteborg.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the dialect, my dialect, has a lot of words from the time when Norway, Sweden was one country.
Yeah.
And it mixed up with local language and a little bit Swedish and.
So if we've done TV in Denmark and actually in Finland as well. We've done Swedish TV in Finland because parts of Sweden have a minority that speaks Swedish. And when we have done TV, or we've held lectures in Denmark and in Sweden, Arne has had to
then I
change his dialect. He has to speak the more what we call bokmål, which means the language of books, which is more the written Danish. Arne has had to speak that instead of his dialect, If we
did TV in Denmark, or if we talk to a group of people, then I try to speak more like the written language. If I speak to our Danish friends, I don't change
No,
much.
you're fine with our friends because they...
But if it's in Finland, then I have to change a lot. But then again, we went to Karleby. Karleby in the north of Finland. And those ladies we talked to in the workshop, they spoke Old Swedish.
Old Swedish, yeah. Well, no, not Swedish. It's Finlandssvenska. It's a Finnish Swedish. It's its own language, actually.
And that was very interesting because we started to discuss the words and the language, and I spoke my dialect with them because they had so many words that I used, and that again showed that a lot of the words in my dialect probably has a link to Old Swedish.
Yes.
Because of the connections.
And because my language is Swedish, but I lived here in Norway for so long, I think I speak in a way that is clear to many people, more clear than Arne's dialect. So I never have to pretend or change. Pretend that I know bokmål, because you do love your dialect.
I feel stupid when I have to change.
Yeah.
We call it knote. That is when you change your dialect and try
to speak the high Norwegian.
I feel so stupid. It's like, and sometimes you have to do it because people really don't get what you're saying, and then you have to change into those words, and I feel so stupid.
But in theory, Norwegian, Swedish, and Danish should be able to understand each other. From my experience now, after living in all three, I haven't lived in Denmark, but I've been so near Denmark when I lived in Sweden. But for me, it seems like the Norwegians are the ones who understand the most. So
because we've been part of both countries.
Yeah. And so for some reason, Norwegians get Swedish and they get Danish easier. Swedes seem to struggle a lot with Danish understanding, and Danish seem to struggle sometimes understanding Norwegians.
When we go to Denmark now, sometimes we meet younger people and they actually start to speak English.
To speak English with us.
And that is very strange because if you read Danish and Norwegian, when you read it, it is more or less the same. It's just the pronunciations. So you have to focus, and it takes a few days, and then you're into it and you actually understand what people say.
I don't like it. I think... I kind of think that we share a common language with the Danes and the Swedes, so it shouldn't be
a problem,
necessary to speak English. We should be able to communicate in our own languages. Just slow down a little bit. Try to think about your pronunciation. Not speak too fast. It should work.
But I do understand the dialect thing, because sometimes for us also in some parts of Norway we have problem understanding the dialects. So I do understand that someone from Denmark or Sweden will have problems.
Yeah.
Okay, that was language and a little bit of knitting. I think maybe we should try to stop now, because we have
a lot to pack. I have to finish packing. We're driving to the airport tonight. We're going to spend the night at the hotel. Tomorrow we are leaving early to Bergen. I can't wait to go back to Bergen. I love that city so much. And we are looking forward to having a nice time around,
And meet the group. And some of you, when you see this, we have been together for a week.
Yeah,
maybe.
so probably we may have done some short videos and some other things while we are waiting for the Sit in It for a bit to air.
And it will be busy in the house when we leave because the carpenters, they are coming in a few days. So things are changing when we come back home.
Yeah. So we hope that you have enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Consider becoming a subscriber, and then you can turn that notification bell on, can't you, Arne?
Yeah, and then you get a bling.
And you never miss an episode. Newsletter, of course, is a good way to get in touch with us and figure out our shenanigans. Yeah. If you want to join the waitlist for the cruises, that's also where you need to go. And for that, you actually do need to contact us and let us know you want to be on the wait list.
And if you're not on the wait list or the mailing list, you probably don't get the news.
No.
Before it's too late.
Yeah. And for additional content, you could consider becoming a member. We have a YouTube membership that is open for everyone. And you get your own custom-made Arne and Carlos emojis that you can use for comments and chats. There is a 15-minute catch-up every single week. There are live streams where you can get knitting help and shenanigans with Arne and Carlos, which means pretty much our cooking episodes are there. So go and check it out. You can go to the subscribe page of our YouTube channel, and next to it there's a join button. You can click on that button and you can see all the extra content that you'll get if you become a member. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again very soon. Bye.